Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fight fans around the world. My name is Robert Huddleston, and this is the golden age of combat sports. Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson are allegedly going to box. They were supposed to have, I believe they've had 2 dates now, and it continues to be moved down the road. Um, According to Roy, which makes sense, Mike ultimately needed more than the original 6 weeks. And then another 6 weeks came and went, and they decided they needed more time. Roy says Mike's chances get better as the time goes. Mike was on Joe Rogan and said that after the famous video going around with 1 billion views of him throwing hooks and cuts with Rafael Cordero of Black House MMA, that he had to lay in bed for a week. Roy said he was pretty sore after he got back. The difference is Mike hasn't boxed in, I think, since 2008, 2006. Roy boxed just 2 years ago. So, and Roy never got overweight. Mike got very fat. So they were supposed to have boxed, and it's been back down the road a couple of times now. If they do end up going to box, and I believe they will, there's a lot of money involved. I'm way picking Roy Jones Jr. And nobody is picking Roy. But I find that I don't think anybody watched any Mike Tyson fights in the 80s and 90s. Now, I know some boxing heads are going to come out and say he beat up so-and-so named Spinks. I know he beat Spinks. But aside from that, every time Mike fought a talented boxer, he got beat up. He put the old 1-2 hook cut on a bunch of cans who nobody can name. Evander beat him twice. Lennox Lewis beat him. Buster Douglas beat him. I believe he has 5 losses. Yeah, aside from Spinks, can anybody name anybody he beat up? Or the last time he won a fight? Roy never got overweight. Roy never got out of training because he still trained people. So though he didn't get in fight shape 2 or 3 times a year anymore, he stayed boxing and stayed within grabbing distance of, I don't know, they're fighting at heavyweight. So he just probably is walking in with no weight cutting, just a level of conditioning add to the weight he's carrying around. I'm totally gonna pick. I'm really gonna go on the record here and pick Roy hard. I think Roy's gonna touch Mike up. I think he's the better boxer. He's 5'11", Mike's 5'10". I know he's had an inch or two reach, and he's way the faster guy, way the more technical boxer. So I say allegedly, Mike and Roy are supposed to fight, and I'm all for these freak show fights, these old men, and they're old men, they're in their early 50s, these old man fights, because they're not in young man fighting condition anymore. Yeah, I'm way excited. I hope it happens, and I'm way picking Roy. I think Roy is going to touch Mike up, and a lot of people who have a real revisionist history about Mike Tyson, that he was some grand pugilist because they've seen a bunch of highlights of him knocking out cans. I think a lot of people are going to have their hearts broke. But tell me what you think.